Welcome back to Locky Top. It's been a little bit of time off for us, but we're excited to bring you another high quality pod tonight. Joined with Josh and Andy.
What's up, guys?
How's it going, fellas? We just wanted to reintroduce our new partnership with Sign Up Expert and Betstamp.com. And it opens up an incredible opportunity for you to join some of our favorite sports books to get the best odds and new user offers. Head over to our dedicated page at signupexpert.com/LockyTopSports to explore a selection of sports books tailored to your region, each with unique offerings. If you're ready to take your sports betting to the next level and show some love for our brand, I highly recommend signing up for your next sports book through our Sign Up Expert link. Again, signupexpert.com/LockyTopSports. You can easily find it in the description of this video and also on our QR code displayed on the bottom right. So, boys, it's been a while. Anything happen that you'd like to talk about, or should we just get into our best bets?
Oh, man, business first. Let's get right to it.
Yeah, there's been a lot of stuff we want to talk about, but man, I think the biggest one is these best bets. So I'll let you guys go ahead and talk about England and Spain.
Okay, yeah. So we have the finals of the Euros 2024 Sunday afternoon, 3 p.m. Eastern time. It should be a great game. It's England versus Spain. And I think that it is going over the 2 goals. So we got over 2 minus 115 here. That's one of my best bets for this weekend. Spain is second in the Euros in scoring. England always comes up with late game magic, as I personally witnessed over this past week. So pretty confident about over 2 goals. And do you want to talk about the Wimbledon final coming up?
Yeah, I mean, no surprise. It's Djokovic again in Wimbledon, and Alcaraz on the other side. As square as it can get, and as would typically these things go. It's a 5-setter for a reason. When 2 players at their level and caliber clash, in a major, it rarely ever ends in a straight set. Very, very rare we see, someone gets straight setted, 3 times in a row, or losing 3 sets in a row at a stage like this. Only examples I can think of is like when Djokovic straight setted Nadal like 4 or 5 years ago at Australian Open, or when Nadal straight setted Federer at French Open. Again, those are some of the majors where these 2 players like really, really excel at. So, can we expect something like that here? I don't think so. I mean, Alcaraz has proven himself. He's got over the jitters, beat Djokovic in a major final already. So, whoever's gonna come out on top, I think one thing for sure is this is going 5 sets. Very likely gonna go 6-4. 7-5, 7-6 type of slugfest. Maybe like a 1 set dropping. I could see Djokovic dropping like 1 set very like easily, like 6-2 or 6-3. Like you've seen him do this time and time again. When he's down like 5-2, he stops trying, conserves energy, just gives away the set because he knows he needs that stamina instead of chasing after every ball. So that could be the issue here with the 40.5. I feel like these types of games are usually set at like 43, 44.5. So this does seem a little too low, but going with Naveen's squarest pick of the week on over 2 goals, why not go with the over 40.5? We're going full square here this weekend. So I guess that means over Alcaraz 40.5, over England, Spain 2 goals. So lock it up, you guys. If you've been following us, our last recommendations easily cleared 3-0. So we're hoping for another clean sweep today. 69 and 48. It's a nice record we got up there, and hoping to continue that streak.
Yep. Just want to comment, guys, on the year. We've been tracking our best bets, 69 and 48, as Andy said, through 26 episodes. That, if you do the math, that's roughly 59%. So bet with us, lock up the locks, and hopefully we all turn out winners. So yeah, just a little bit more on Alcaraz versus Djokovic. Throughout the week, I was able to watch some of the highlights going on while I was in London, and it was pretty awesome to see both Djokovic and Alcaraz kind of turn up their level. There were some questions as to is Djokovic done throughout some of our tennis podcasts, and it just seems like the guy doesn't give up. And same with Alcaraz. Alcaraz fought hard to get there, and we should see a good final. Josh, any thoughts coming in as for this tennis matchup?
Give me Joker all day, man.
Okay.
Give me Joker.
Okay.
Smart man.
Yeah.
Backing Djokovic at a major final has
Major
rarely
final.
failed a lot of people.
That's right.
Right. And it's one of those rare cases where Joke is the underdog. So also
it's like a
All
betting
dogs
on a
go to
dealer at a
heaven.
blackjack table. Sometimes
Yeah.
you can beat them, but most of the times
Nah.
they come out victorious.
yeah, man. I think
all dogs go to heaven, right, Naveen?
yes, sir. So I think
That's one of your most infamous quotes for all of our longtime listeners. All dogs go to heaven. So
right. Yeah. So I think that should be relatively easy.
And we all know Joker's got that dog in him, right? So underdog, big dog, all the dogs. So
what's the what is it like Djokovic even money, Alcaraz slight favorite? Like, have you checked the
I
odds?
think it is. Let me look that up for you, Andy. I believe it is closer to like Alcaraz minus 140, Joke plus 120. But let me give you a real line there.
Yeah, I mean, it's very rare that you get to pick the guy who's won 23 times as an underdog. That is an incredible opportunity. But again, like he's an underdog for a reason this time. He's been battling some injuries on the wrong side of 35, and Alcaraz has proven himself too. But as Naveen mentioned, the most confident pick here is just go with the squarest bet, 40.5.
Yep, we got it's Alcaraz minus 150, Djokovic plus 123 on one of my
minus 150.
Yep.
Yikes.
So they're really going. They're really thinking that Alcaraz is going to win this, but let's see. I mean, both these guys have that dog in them, but if you can back a guy that's won it 23 times and also get the dog, I don't know how you don't take that.
Yeah.
So, all right. Our next topic for the day is the Euro, Spain versus England. I was in Europe this past week, guys, and let me tell you, it was great to see. As a soccer fan, it's great to see how people really from the region escalate and celebrate this kind of matchups. I went out for both games to appropriate pubs. I went to Spain pub for the Spanish game versus France. Excellent performances by some of these young kids. Lamine Yamal in particular, Barcelona forward. 16. He's going to be 17 by the time this game is played. I think his birthday today or tomorrow. But incredible performance. Looks like a type of player that's going to be on your TV screen for 15 years.
Nice.
And then I was in England for It's Coming Home special versus Netherlands. Some controversial calls, late game heroics. It seems to be the theme for England. They seem to play better down 1-0. That's like power position for them. And, true to form, they got it done. 90th minute with an Ollie Watkins goal. Absolute mayhem in the streets after that happened. It was tough getting back to my hotel, even though I was like only 3 or 4 blocks away. People partying in the streets. I couldn't even take a video of of the final goal because it was that packed in the bars that I was in. So, I mean, it would be great to see England come home with this, but if I was a betting man on who I think would advance, give me the youngsters, give me Spain. Andy, your thoughts?
Well, I'm glad you got to experience the peak of the peak. Because I feel like if you stayed until Sunday, you'd have been very disappointed. It'll be so quiet. You'd probably hear,
Pin drop.
Yeah, like it would have been so disappointing, but very fitting for England. It seems to be a theme for them. They get to semifinals, they get to the final, but then it's gonna slip away. Spanish Armada versus England. History tells us that England defeated Spanish Armada when they had a Queen Elizabeth, but unfortunately the Queen's dead. So I'm gonna have to go with the Spanish Armada this time. Give me the Enterprise of England, Spain all the way. Probably gonna be 3-0, but hey, I however it's gonna be, as Naveen says, we're going with the squarest of the square pick over 2. And if you want to join us in the squarest of square pick, click on this square right here. That's our QR code to the sign up expert. Join us as we square up the circle. Let's go.
Nice, guys.
And I liked that. That was really good mind mapping and marketing right there, Andrew. I'm very impressed.
I've been taking notes, as I watched Naveen work for a marketing company for a while. So,
okay,
yeah.
Well, that is impressive. I will say, just to kind of close out the Euro 2024 discussion, that little monologue you gave there for the promo, very impressive, but not as impressive as Naveen's video he sent to the group chat of him in those pubs. So it looked like he had a great time, and man, you could only hope to be able to live one of those experiences, because just like we do this podcast about Tennessee football in the SEC and how crazy it gets, those soccer hooligans in Europe, man, they are next level. I got to experience that while I was in Germany for a few years. Mia San Mia, Bayern Munich. So it rivals the most vitriol fan bases of SEC football teams. But I'm going to go with Spain as well. Shout out to my boy Pau Gasol and his peeps. Looks like the Spaniards are going to take care of business, and give me Spain all day, and do what everybody else said, and click on the box down there. Yeah, let me get it right. So
So funny enough, I saw this on Twitter, but last time Spaniard was in a Wimbledon final, and Spain was in a major tournament at the same time. Last 2 times that would be Nadal and Spain in the 2008 and 2010, and they ended up doing the double. So the Spaniards, they get up, they watch Nadal crush Wimbledon, and then they pub hop and they watch Spain lift the trophy. So hey, I'm not saying Alcaraz is Nadal or this version of Spain is as strong as those 2008, 2010 squad with Iniesta, Xavi, Torres, Villa, but here at Locked Up Sports, we love patterns, and the pattern says go with Spain. Go with Spain. There'll be no pain. There we go.
Okay, that's fair. I won't add anything to that. I think
we got Andrew Seuss on here today, man. He's out here spitting bars,
spitting bars at the bars. So
that's right.
I think next up we got Argentina versus Colombia in Copa America. A little bit closer to home, a little bit more manageable time to watch this game.
Yeah, it's a full slate of Sunday. You wake up, it's Wimbledon final. By the time that wraps over, about 5 hours. As we said, it's going over 40.5 games, so it's going to be 5.5 hours, 4.5-hour match. That wraps up, and then the Euro kicks off, and then you can take a little nap after that and wake up and 8 p.m. Boom, Argentina, Colombia, down in the Miami Gardens. I can only imagine how lit that shit is gonna get.
Oh my God.
Messi is also now in Inter Miami. So, I mean, Miami just in general has a lot of these, immigrants from all over Latin, Central and South America. It's going to be crazy down there. I can only imagine. Hard Rock would be definitely going to be super lit. Hard Rock Stadium.
It's going to be bumping, man, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, to add on what Andy is talking to, like, these are bitter rivals. These are almost neighboring countries. Probably, definitely the best two teams in this tournament. Most exciting teams to watch. Messi at his new home, right? In Miami, it's setting up for quite the theater and quite the Sunday, guys. Like, if you're born on a Sunday, you must have a low pulse when it comes to sports, because you got Wimbledon, you got Copa, you got Euro, all day,
all finals too. Like, it's incredible that it lined up like that.
Yep, the stars are aligning for that, and to continue being square, give me Argentina, guys. I think that this is going to be quite. I don't know if you can knock Messi at any point at this in time in the past like year or two, coming off the World Cup. Colombia has been exciting. James Rodriguez seems to be
still around,
resurrecting, and still around, knocking boots over there, doing crazy stuff. So I think that look out for Argentina this Sunday night, and pound the books, guys.
Yeah, I'm not touching this game, but me personally, I'm going with Colombia. Oh, and we I just realized it's we have it spelled wrong. It's Colombia with an O, not Columbia with a U, like the university up there, the nerd university. But that being said, give me the give me James, my girlfriend's extended family, Colombian, so I gotta rock with them. We actually watched the semifinal here last week, or not semifinal, quarterfinal here last week when they banged 5-0 Panama. So I'm gonna go with the homer pick here. I do think that Argentina is probably gonna lift, but Colombia probably. If I have to pick a side, I would probably take some kind of a plus here. But yeah, it seems like inevitable that it's gonna be like it's like literally cooked up for Messi, right? Like his new home, finals right there, and it's not even just Messi's show. Like this Copa America, like Martinez, like all these like Argentinian players are playing incredibly well. But so is Colombia. Like it's so crazy, like how well they're playing. So it should be a big match. I feel like in terms of the pure excitement, this one definitely takes it over the Euros. I feel like Euros are, I mean, it's good, but again, the energy, I feel like it's gonna be more banging for Copa. So we'll see. But give me Colombia.
Yeah, I think
I was banging 7 gram rocks.
I think
finishing them because that's how I roll. I have one speed. I have one gear. Go. So.
Colombia all day.
Yeah.
I'm with Andrew. They're out there going to be banging Argentina. They're going to be banging 7 gram rocks. They're going to be banging it all. But what they're definitely going to be banging is the books. So my pick this week, lock for me, Colombia.
Okay. Fair enough,
right,
guys.
So we got Team Escobar versus Team Messi. All right.
I would just say that if you guys want a great time, try to find a local Argentinian or Colombian or just in general Latin bar to watch these games at. I realize most of our listeners probably not in areas where that's available, but if you're able to, definitely do it. If you want, like as Josh was saying, if you want like a simulated SEC huge environment, big game, theatrics, head to your local Latin spot to watch a game of this magnitude.
Absolutely. Go get you some cervezas.
Yeah.
Have a good time, man.
Yep, tequila, cervezas, whatever you need, it will be there, and it will be flowing for hours.
Yeah, Naveen,
before.
where are you going?
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
I don't know. I think I'm gonna find a local a bar in New Jersey that's Colombian. More Colombian presence here than
Yeah, I hear like Elizabeth is like
Go
a
in there,
very
go in there and tell them who you're rooting for, though, Naveen.
yeah.
You'll
I might have to be a double
you'll
agent. I
probably
might
wind
just
up
say,
like those cats at the game last week over here in Charlotte. Let's not forget about what Columbia's fans and players were out there doing at Bank of America Stadium a couple days ago. They were getting, I mean, it was buck wild. I thought it was crime mob and UGK, Nuck if you buck out there, you know?
yeah, that was wild.
Yeah.
But on brand, but
On
completely on brand.
Yeah, passion. That's what we love here at Locky Top Sports.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
That's right.
That's one way to define, assault and battery. Passion.
All right, let's head to closer shores. Sports we normally talk about more. Josh, fill me in. What's been happening in NBA Summer League?
Well, contrary to popular belief, there are more players playing in the Summer League other than Bronny James. And it just so happens that there's a player on Bronny James's team that's actually playing a lot better than him that's not getting as much coverage. But, all of us know who that is, and most of our listeners probably do as well. That is our beloved alum, Dalton Connect. Connect 4, rocking the number 4 jersey now. Looking a little like fresh Luke Walton out there, rocking the 4 Lakers jersey, but definitely better skill set than anything that Luke Walton ever possessed. But you look at that first week, Dalton kind of got off to a rough start. There was a lot of naysayers out there, like, oh my God, like what's going on? The Lakers wasted a first round draft pick on this guy, but what did Dalton say? I mean, I think he was his best defense there at that press conference. He's like, hey, look, guys, I haven't played basketball since March or early April, right? Whatever that, the game was against Purdue in the Elite Eight. And, it takes a little bit of time to get back into the rhythm because, he's a shooter. So, in true fashion, he came back this week and he dropped 20 and 25 in his summer league games. And I think last night almost had a double-double. I think he had 25 and 9. So obviously Twitter lost its fucking mind and went the opposite direction. Was like, oh, our bad. Dog Connect is the GOAT. Great choice. All the naysayers and all the people and all the franchises that let him drop as low as he did in the draft are probably, punching themselves in the face right now, knowing what kind of elite scoring talent I think that they let go by. But Dalton Connect is a force to be reckoned with. Even the announcers last night, he got in a little bit of a spot there, and they're like, "Oh no!" He got the clamps put down on him, and then he just splashed it right in the defender's face. The announcer was like, "Oh, my bad." Obviously, he wasn't clamped down. So, Dalton, talking to you here, bud. Keep proving the naysayers wrong, man. You're making all of us that wear orange and white proud. We love you, and then especially as a Lakers fan. You're definitely making the franchise proud, and hopefully Bronny James will just disappear into mediocrity that he is and go somewhere else, and some of the much deserved media attention will be placed where it rightfully belongs, and that's on your performances that you've been producing for the team. So I'm gonna punt it to Andrew. I know he's also a resident Laker fan, also a big DK fan. Obviously, his love of Tennessee basketball. So, what have you been seeing from Dalton, Andrew? And does it make you really optimistic for him being a day one starter when October, November rolls around?
I don't know about a day one starter. Just looking at the lineup there. With you're gonna have probably D'Angelo starting at point guard, LeBron at small, Anthony Davis at power forward. They'll probably grab either bring one of those garbage center they had last year or sign a free agent as a center. So, and probably Austin Reeves as shooting guard. But that being said, I think he's going to get minutes, probably starting out. They're going to ease him in probably like 10, 12 minutes on his first NBA game. But that being said, a very, we've always said that he's going to be the more NBA ready player than a lot of these kids. Like you look at somebody like,
he's very polished at this point.
Like look at somebody like Dillingham, still struggling. But that being said, it's his ceiling might be higher, but also there's no guarantee that he reaches that ceiling, right? And Dalton is Josh nailed it. Like the first few games, he had the jitters. He's also trying to catch up to game speed, but also this is summer league, so like. The thing about summer league or like G League or any of these things is that everybody's basically having a tryout. Whereas Dalton knows, like he's not there to try out and secure a roster. He's a first round draft pick for a reason. And these other players, like other than Dalton and Bronny James, like you're never gonna see any of these 10 to 13 players that are on the summer league Lakers team, and that goes for every other team as well. So it's kind of like funny because they're not giving him the ball like he should. It's like here's a 27-year-old point guard that plays in Italy, jacking up 8 3-pointers while Dalton's standing in the corner asking for the ball. Well, that's not gonna be the case in the in an NBA sort of scheme, because nowadays NBA is all about switching, finding open shooters, off-ball movement. And first couple games, like no one was setting the screen for him. Like whenever he gets the ball and he motions the players to set the screen, like these players are just like standing around because all these people are thinking about is like, yo, give me the ball, right? And I think finally, like starting game 3 and 4, you start to see more more screens, hunting for mismatches, and that's when Dalton started sort of flourishing. Like.
People kind of knowing their roles on the team. I think that's really important.
Yeah. Alex Caruso once said when he was in the G League, and he obviously made it to the NBA, and then he's a great role player now, making the defensive team and stuff. And he once said in the G League, everybody thinks they're interviewing for the CEO spot when in reality the only open position is the janitor role. And that's like a very cold quote, but it like really like describes what summer league's about. It's like everybody just jacks up the shots. Like nobody's like, setting screens or playing defense. But that being said, like Dalton knows that also. And I think he started shooting more instead of passing the ball. And rightfully so. We see him putting up 20, 25, very good shooting percentages, like 9 of 16, 5 of 10 from the 3. So as he gets more comfortable, I think he'll do better. Also imagine just kind of like in a real setting where Anthony Davis, LeBron James, D'Lo on the outside, and he's just going to get a lot more open shots, right? Like one thing about LeBron is you surround him with shooters. That's been a proven formula for how many years now. And Dalton Knecht is a fucking shooter. So I really think that he's gonna do well. Really excited to see. I mean, I think Rookie of the Year is really not out of the question here because there's a lot of like young, talented players in this draft, but no like a clear-cut number one like a Victor or even like a Blake Griffin type of clear-cut runaway Rookie of the Year candidates. And as Josh said, Dalton is more polished than some of these younger players. And I think he's also more ready for plug and play, like immediately come off the bench and start, giving you 15, 20, a la Austin Reeves type of role. So,
yeah, and I think a lot could be said for how Rick Barnes, not to go off on a little bit of a tangent here, but I would argue that this is very indicative of a Rick Barnes coached individual. Rick Barnes, I think, is probably one of the best at preparing his players to go to the next level. I mean, he has put a lot of people in the NBA, and some of the more notable names. I think top of those, Kevin Durant, right? So I would argue that if you go to Tennessee, so I'm doing a recruiting plug for the university right now, but if you go to Tennessee and you play for Coach Barnes, you're going to be ready, especially in the most modern era of college basketball. And we give him a hard time. because he inexplicably loses some games that we know that we shouldn't be losing. But, obviously that's basketball, right? It's not a microcosm, kind of like football season is, where, you lose one game, then it's a disaster. But, basketball kind of has the ebbs and flow of the season. But I say all that, he's changed with the times. Coach Barnes has, with the way that he coaches at Tennessee and the way he prepares his players. So a lot of credit to that success that Dalton is having right now, and he'll probably be the first to tell you. And it's the clear-cut reason on why he came to Tennessee was to play for Coach Barnes. So I wouldn't be. I wouldn't feel right giving Dalton all these praises without obviously mentioning, the impact I think that Tennessee had on his game and his ability to go in and be polished to be ready for the league right now.
Cool. Yeah, I'll just update our maybe one or two Wolves fans on what's happening over there.
Not the Wolves.
Not the Wolves, but Rob Dillingham, he's struggling. he's not performing yet up to expectation, but first two games, okay, I'll give him the pass. I want him to turn into mini Tyrese Maxey, but let's see. I'm gonna hold off on that moniker for right now. But we are getting solid performance from Terrence Shannon Jr. He had 25 points, similar to Dalton in yesterday's summer league game. So, I don't care where it comes from, who gets us there. We need another piece to complement AE and the other players going on at the Wolves, so that we can go deeper into the playoffs, hopefully, in a very stacked Western Conference.
I was about to say, man, I think you lost. I think your window passed.
Maybe.
Did you guys hear? Speaking of the quote he had a couple of days ago, where Steve Kerr, the coach of the national team, told him, "Hey, D Wade came off the bench, when he was on the Olympics team, and then Edwards told him, well, we don't have a Kobe on this team. I'm the Kobe." So,
yeah,
love the swagger.
Anthony Edwards says he's the Kobe.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah. That's.
He said
okay.
he's the number one option on the Team USA right now, and I was like, you look at that roster.
He's just out there swinging it around now, huh?
Yeah, it's like, the team has LeBron, Embiid, Anthony Davis, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant.
Here's the difference between Anthony Edwards and Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant would have carried that team to a championship.
Kobe never lost on a Team USA, 33-0.
So, yeah.
Unlike the LeBrons, James, that carried us to losses versus Puerto Rico, along with Tim Duncan and Allen Iverson. So, anyways.
Yeah, we digress.
Kicking it back to why we're all here. We got a little bit of an update on some of our uniforms coming up for the season. So, want to get your guys' thoughts on the new Tennessee Smokey Gray series. So, Josh, why don't you take us through what your thoughts are on this new uniform?
Okay, so my initial thoughts when I see it, I see two versions. I see this version, which, okay, like I'm okay with it. It's not my favorite uniform in the wardrobe, but definitely I think it's something that can grow on me. One thing that I do want to mention before we go into the actual uniform here, the second version that I was alluding to is the one that's available for fans to purchase, right? By far is the most hideous thing I think I've ever seen in my life. I will not be purchasing it. Nike did a really bad job of it. It looks like Starter Gear designed it and it's sold at Walmart. Okay. So, with that being said, let's kind of dive in. And if you, before we do, if you're curious about what that, the replica version of this jersey looks like, please, go to the Google machine, take a gander at it. There's no way I'm paying over $100 for that jersey. It's just not going to happen. But as we dive into this a little bit, there are some things that stick out to me that I like about it. And I'll kind of start to the top and work my way down. Obviously the state flag, that's a really cool addition there with, the Tennessee state flag has the stripe there at the end, that white stripe. And they've kind of incorporated that with the orange. The Great Smoky Mountain pattern, I think that's kind of been a mainstay on those helmets for a while. I don't know if they've upgraded kind of like the shadowing and the paint, or like the paint colors to where it's a little bit more defined, because sometimes I think in times past when I've looked at the smoky gray helmet, it's not been as defined to where I would be able to know the difference between it just being a gray helmet versus there being some shading to kind of display the mountain ranges of the Smokies, right? So I think that's what they're really going for there. So I think if you get a little bit better eyes on and like in person, maybe you'll be able to see that. But nonetheless, I still kind of like the gray helmet, but I absolutely love the addition of the white stripe to kind of incorporate the state flag. TriStar patch, that's where it kind of like, I love the TriStar design. I don't know that I like it there. It's a little bit too, that's where it gets into the starter gear kind of design and Walmart sold. It looks like something I would buy at CVS, before I went to a game. I go in there to get some chapstick and it's like, Ball Shop's out of all smoky gray jerseys, and then CVS are running these for $29.99. They would have that on the sleeve. It kind of reminds me of the smoky grays that were supposed to happen on Butch Jones's last year, that had the hideous checkerboard sleeves on it. I don't know which is worse. If I had to pick, it'd probably be the checkerboards, but closely followed by this. I love the TriStar patch. I don't know if I would have located it on the shoulder pads. It kind of gives me Austin P vibes. If you go back and you look at Austin P, when we played them last year, they had a lot of that scheme going, and I wasn't a big fan of it. And then they had their zip code on their helmet and everything. It's kind of cringy. That's just me. That's my take on that. With the Tennessee there on the chest, cool. First ever home uniform to feature Tennessee across the chest. Doesn't really do anything for my pulse. Doesn't get the blood going. But hey, cool to change it up. At least they know when somebody's running at them. Hey, Tennessee's coming at you, dog. Like, here we come. Like, I like the font though. I'm a big fan of that font. So I could get behind Tennessee being on the front of the jersey there. The TriStar state logo on the pants, and see, that's a little bit more subtle. I can appreciate on the pants there where we have that. I think if you remove the TriStar patch and you just leave that on the pants, that's perfect.
Right.
That's just my opinion. I do like the 3 stars on the pants there too. They're kind of representing the East Tennessee area, where the Tri-Cities and Knoxville is, Middle Tennessee, where Nashville and everything is, and Memphis out west. So for all of you lay people that don't understand the TriStar meaning on the state flag and why it's important to the state of Tennessee, there it is. But that's kind of my breakdown of it. Color scheme, it is what it is. I think we've had that consistent, throughout all 3 versions of the smoky gray that Nike has released for us. But yeah, that's my take on it. Andrew, punt it to you again, man. As a longtime Tennessee fan, what are your thoughts about this smoky gray?
I'm a purist, and I really not a big fan of these alt uniforms in general. And I feel like nowadays they kind of start spamming the alt uniforms. And then I'm not talking about just Tennessee or college football world, but in every like sports too. And I don't know if that's Nike's strategy of just trying to just sell more variation of the uniforms, probably. But for me, I want them to stick to the their true colors. It's one of the very, very unique colors that you see on TV. When you're walking by at a bar or whatever, even if you happen to forget that they were playing, like you instantly recognize with that color. Like, there's not a lot of colors, the primary colors of the team that you see, and that's like the only team that you associate with, right? Like so many teams wear the maroon, red, white, black, yellow, navy, but that color, that shade of orange, very unique, very distinct, and I feel like that almost is the identity, and I just don't like it every time they try to, like, once every like few years.
You're really showing you're really showing your age here, Andrew.
No, but I've just never been a fan of it, even since the debut. Even when I think we had these on for Florida game in like 2016, right? And again, like I just feel like
that was the first Nike series of that. Obviously, Adidas had made one before, but it was not very good either.
So I don't know. I feel like it should just be reserved for like maybe maybe something that's like a non-conference game when we do like a home and home and then do those types of things. But I want them to stick to like the classics, and classics never go out of style for a reason. Maybe it is showing my age, but just not a big fan. I also think like this design specifically, my opinion aside on the alt uniforms, there are some things I like about it, but overall it just looks too crowded. Like there's that patch. I agree with you. Like
looks pretty cheap,
Yeah,
it's cheap.
I don't like it. I think the Smoky Mountain pattern, like the subtle, that's pretty cool. The stripe, but then I'm not really a fan of the Tennessee across the chest. Like I feel like again, it looks very crowded there with the big T there already, and also with the Nike logo. So I could probably do without that. Like the little state logo on the right around the pocket-ish area. I think that's pretty cool. But yeah, like not a big fan of the patch there. It just makes it look very crowded, cheap, like too much.
Yeah, for me, I'm also much of a purist. I think 2 months ago or 1 or 2 months ago, Josh and I went and ranked all of our favorite Tennessee jerseys. So just check those out if you want to go back and
episode like 17 or 18.
Yeah. We went through what we like. And I think this is calls into the question what Andy talked about, which is what's your team identity, right? If you keep messing with these logos and messing with these jerseys, especially at home, right? I get it on the road,
right?
You're gonna go play Austin P, or you're gonna go play Nickel State, or whoever you're gonna play.
I think we play NC State and Charlotte this year. That would be a perfect. That would, to your point, that would be a perfect place, I think, to showcase these. Playing Alabama in these uniforms is a no for me.
Right.
Exactly. Right. And to what Andy said, this power tee should be enough, right?
Yeah.
The opponent should see the big orange tee and know what that means. I don't think we need this labeling here. And again, like it's something that's cool, but a little unnecessary for me.
Yeah.
With a team with such a huge identity, this is a bit of a reach in my eyes. So I think we covered a lot of our thoughts here. So let's go back into a series that we've been showcasing the past couple weeks, which is our SEC schedule reviews. So for that, we're going to take a look at LSU and Ole Miss and kind of go through and predict what we think is going to happen with each of these teams, probably predict their records. So we'll start alphabetical here. We got LSU first. So the LSU website starts you off with a huge ad. I don't know if I like that. Hoping it doesn't play during this video. But, LSU website, they start off in Vegas.
Yeah, against Southern Cal.
Against probably Southern why there's Cal. A big casino ad right there.
Big SeatGeek, big casino. But I think this is also a good time to plug maybe some futures bets. Go to our signupexpert.com/like-top-sports, or use the QR code down there. Whichever way the point. I'll get this right. But yeah. So take advantage of this free chicken that we're giving out here, free advice, and do whatever you want to do with it. But I think so far, you look at our leaderboard, we got some strong analysis going on here. But Naveen, go ahead, jump into Las Vegas, the USC Junior versus LSU.
Well, I think first off, got to note that this is on a Sunday, so you might be like, "Oh, why is it on a Sunday?" I think it's because it's one of those games that are happening Labor Day
weekend. Yep.
Where they spread out the games a little bit. Exciting to see that it is in Vegas. I think that LSU can get the dub here. Not really too concerned with USC. Caleb Williams gone. Jaden Daniels also gone. So we'll see two new quarterbacks in this matchup. But I do think LSU generally would be the more prepared team. So I would put this down as 1-0 for LSU. Josh, any other thoughts here?
Yeah, so I'm going to go Oppo here.
Okay.
I think LSU is going to have a little bit of a down year. I'm not going to say what I think their record is going to be, obviously, to spoil the segment off here off the rip, but I think they're going to go a couple steps backwards. Losing Jaden Daniels and Malik Neighbors, I think, is going to affect them bigly because defensively, LSU's not been very good since Brian Kelly's been there. I mean, they've not been the LSU that we've come to know and love begrudgingly with their defenses. So, and then offensively, that's a hard thing to replace. Even in the era of the transfer portal, where it's kind of like plug and replace, I think they're going to have a hard time. And for me, I think Lincoln Riley at USC is going to have to come off with a heater because if he doesn't, I think they're going to start having buyer's remorse. And I think all of us are very familiar with how USC kind of operates with their head coaches. They don't fuck around. Once they know that person's not it, they go ahead and pull the trigger. Helton, prime example. Kiffin, prime example. I could keep going. You don't start driving the revenue and getting the Trojans into the playoff discussion. And the only way that you're going to be able to do that, I think, if you're USC Junior going into the, I think they're going into Big Ten this year, right? Mm-hmm. I think with their schedule, kind of the way it's set up, the only way that they can help galvanize and help that strength of schedule is going to be in that game against LSU. So give me USC Junior. Give me them in a close game. Probably going to be I'd say 7.5.
Okay.
LSU, or for USC, minus 7.5.
Wow. Okay. All right, Andy, I'm going to get your thoughts on the next two here. We got Nichols and South Carolina at week 2 and week 3. Any thoughts?
Two dubs. I think LSU stays undefeated until they have to play Ole Miss.
Oh wow! So, all right, you're kind of previewing things for us. So, I tend to agree. I think South Carolina is in shambles, and I guess when we preview South Carolina's schedule, we'll get one of our good South Carolina analysts on the horn to figure out what he thinks. But I just don't think that they have anything. So for me, I guess we'd be 3-0 at this point. Andy also 3-0, and Josh 2-1 coming into UCLA. So, Josh, UCLA, LSU. I think this is an interesting one. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's interesting that anytime that you see used to be Power 5, now Power 4 matchup like this. UCLA is kind of enigma within a riddle to me. They've not been able to figure themselves out. The failed Chip Kelly hire. Chip Kelly hated UCLA so much that he quit to go be the offensive coordinator at Ohio State. So, I mean, that kind of tells you where UCLA is. I think Brian and Chip thought they were going to get to play each other. Didn't work out. Or maybe it was like a low-key Kelly Mafia move to where he would quit and definitely get a an RPI bump for LSU to get a win over UCLA. Who knows? Give me the Tigers. It's hard to come into Death Valley and get out alive. We don't know much about that. We've done that quite a few times in Tennessee. But UCLA, the Bruins, they're going to get in there, and I think they're going to suffer defeat at the hands of the Tigers. So give me LSU on that one.
Okay, for me, next game we got is LSU versus South Alabama. I think this is a dub, and I'm kind of leaning towards Andy's prediction here. 5-0 coming home or staying home versus Ole Miss. But Andy, let me get your thoughts here. LSU Ole Miss, saying 100 years of Tiger Stadium night game. Seems like all the theatrics,
all the fixins
of epic kind of matchup. Hopefully between LSU and Ole Miss. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. So I would say, I mean, like night game and all. But I am actually gonna take Ole Miss here. I am expecting Lane Kiffin coming in, throwing the dart, and Jackson Dart gonna probably escape here with a pretty smooth victory. I actually think the Vegas spread is actually Ole Miss is the favorite, even though it's at LSU home, and I think that kind of like reflects where the two teams are in terms of their like strength, at least like what's perceived as how good they are. Interestingly enough, both teams are projected to the over under totals are 9.5 for both. But that being said, Ole Miss is the favorite heading into this. And I feel like this is one of those spots where you think, oh, LSU night game, underdog like plus 150. Let me smash that, and the books are gonna take all your money type of trap here. And I also think just the Ole Miss offense is gonna be too much for LSU defense to handle, as Josh alluded to earlier. LSU very Swiss cheese. The over-under for this game hasn't been released yet, but the over-under for the USC game is at like 60-something. So that kind of tells you where Vegas sees their defensive strengths or weaknesses are, rather.
Yep. So I think yeah, I would agree with you, Andy. So that would probably be 5-1 or 4-2 coming into Arkansas.
Whoa, not so fast, my friend. Not so fast.
What's up?
LSU is going to beat Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin is abysmal in big games on the road. Abysmal. Unfortunately for Tennessee fans, the only big game that Lane has won was in 2021 in Josh Heupel's first year against us, which was on a botched couple calls from the referees. We, returned a fumble for a touchdown. We threw trash and mustard bottles on the field. We broke out into a Colombian-esque riot, talking about, the Copa game earlier. Lane Kiffin got out of there by the skin of his teeth, after being pelted with golf balls and Dasani bottles. But let me tell you something. He's not going to go into Death Valley and escape, because it's just on brand for Lane Kiffin. I know he's getting a lot of clout this year for what he's assembled in the transfer portal, and I know we're going to touch Ole Miss's schedule next after the LSU one. But for me, I'm going to be the naysayer here, and LSU is going to take care of business against Ole Miss.
Okay. Awesome. So coming into Arkansas, I don't care who wins this game, but betting on this game for the past 6 or 7 years, got to take Arkansas here. Might be ugly, but Arkansas covers against LSU, I think, almost every year. So I would say, probably be, LSU small, 7-point or less favorite. I think because they would have lost at Ole Miss. So I would take Arkansas plus the points in this game. This is another night game, but it is in Fayetteville, Arkansas. So I know they'll be up for this game. So I think it's interesting. You could. It's questionable who's going to win this game, but I would put a high alert on this game versus Arkansas, because you're coming off a massive 100-year celebration here versus Ole Miss. Could be a big spot for a letdown. Anybody else have any thoughts here?
No way, Arkansas. No way. They're not covering. LSU is going to just smash them.
Okay.
Just smash them. I mean, Arkansas won't even have a head coach at that point in the season.
Okay. All right. Andy, when we talk to you about LSU at A&M.
So again, here, LSU is a 2.5-point underdog going into A&M. And I think the A&M is the real letdown spot. So I think they lose to Ole Miss, they bounce back at Arkansas, but just kind of doing what Brian Kelly does, going to A&M and lose a game where they have no business losing.
Okay. So I'm gonna take A&M here as well. I think this is a very trappy game because they're going to be looking to the next week. Because even though Nick Saban's gone, the hate between them and Alabama is strong. And then I think that game, it's at Kyle Field, it's in College Station. And I think Mike Elko, who's the first-year guy at Texas A&M, will be looking to get a signature win. And I think against Brian Kelly that late in the season, that'll probably get the wheels turning for A&M to get close to that 6-game threshold to make a bowl game. So give me the Aggies. They'll make up some weird cheer and do some cultish dance and sacrifice some type of voodoo doll tiger to make that happen. But give me the Aggies on that one.
Yeah, they've been trading wins home and away. So again, kind of choppy board. And if the patterns tell us anything, as it does on the tables, this is gonna go to the Aggies.
Okay, so that puts us at November 9th versus Alabama. I think this is a Alabama big time lock here. I think that Alabama doesn't really have that much margin of error for this season, so this is one game they absolutely have to win. It is in Baton Rouge, but I do think that Bama will get the dub here. Josh, your thoughts on this game? Probably one of the bigger games.
It is a bigger game, but I think it's no longer the Saban Bowl, so it'll be objectively a little different, right? So we come off that loss to Texas A&M because it's trappy because they're looking ahead to the next week. But I think the Tigers get it done. Give me the Tigers. I'm not sold on Kellen DeBoer. Everybody is just like, yeah, Bama's the same Bama. They're not. They might have a lot of the same players there. Got it. But I don't think that necessarily translates to, what we've been accustomed to seeing Alabama. And Alabama, we previewed their schedule. They've kind of got a rough road before they get to that game against LSU. So what that is November 9th?
Yeah.
They're gonna come get humbled by us, a couple weeks before that. So, give me LSU because they'll be trying to bounce back from that A&M embarrassing loss. But I really wish everybody would just hop off the Bama bandwagon because it's kind of disgusting. Nick Saban's gone. Kellen DeBoer hasn't done shit in the SEC. Until he does, give it a rest.
Okay. Andy, we got LSU at Florida in Gainesville, Ben Hill Griffin. Your thoughts on that game, November 16th?
So Florida, it looks very trappy, but I think LSU gets it done.
Thank God,
rivalry.
LSU.
Yeah. I'm taking LSU here. Probably, enough to cover the spread. 5.5. Pretty easy lock to me, if you ask me. I think LSU beats Bama, beats Florida, beats Vanderbilt, and collapses against Oklahoma.
Strong, Andy. Thank you. Coming in, with some common sense. They're going to beat Bama. They're going to beat Florida. They're going to beat Vandy.
And they're going to collapse the typical Brian Kelly style against
Boomer
Oklahoma.
Sooners. I agree. I like the way you close it out. Naveen, I know you've already made a statement about how we ought to fare against Florida, but this is a huge rivalry game for those that are unfamiliar with LSU and Florida. Huge rivalry game. Andrew's actually even been in attendance to LSU Florida, so he's experienced that in Death Valley firsthand. It's an ugly game, but give me your thoughts, man. You think the Tigers take care of Florida, who's probably fired Billy Napier by this point in the season?
I'm going to go contrarian here, guys. I'm going Florida in this game. I think that it will be, it'll be one of those games where I agree with you that Billy Napier will be gone. But
okay, that's what I was about to ask you. Do you think Billy Napier will be gone, or do you think this game might determine whether Billy Napier stays at Florida one more year?
I think, hopefully after Florida loses to Tennessee, he'll be gone. At that point in time, that's what, early October.
Because they had already have played us, Miami. Who else? I mean, their front end is stacked.
Miami, Samford, A&M, Mississippi State, UCF, Tennessee, then Kentucky, Georgia, Texas, LSU. Yeah, Billy Napier's long gone before he gets here.
He's gone. Yeah, so
they could be like 3-7 or 3-6 entering this game. Yeah, Billy's not going to be there.
I know we've previewed Florida already, so we've kind of given the answer away. Naveen, when you previewed Florida, did you have them beaten? Did you have them beaten LSU?
I don't think so, but I'm now switching it because I just think that this is one of those games that doesn't make sense. So you have to go with Florida here, and I agree with Andy. They're gonna beat Vandy. Everybody beats Vandy. Village Bicycle. Everybody gets a ride at Vandy. So I'm not worried about that game. And Oklahoma just looks like a dangerous way to end your schedule. I just also want to note that LSU, like some other teams, they put SEC championship here and playoff predictions out here. That if necessary,
that's very, very optimistic on Brian Kelly and LSU. Football. To go ahead and add that to the website, but hey.
They can talk shit, right? They've won. They have some recent.
2019. But let me tell you something. Just like we told those slack jaw, corn dog smelling motherfuckers down in Baton Rouge when we went down there and just smashed that ass. Like it, old Macaulay Culkin ain't coming through that door no more. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
he ain't coming to save them, right?
Yeah, man. I don't know. A lot of wishful thinking here, but respected at the end of the day.
Respected. So that gets us to
Joe Burrow's he's not coming.
It gets us to anywhere between 6-6, 7-5, 8-4. For
I got them at 9-3, so they're losing to Ole Miss, A&M, and Oklahoma.
Okay,
so that would be under 9.5.
I think I got them 8-4.
8-4.
Okay.
Because I think I'm with Andy minus the opening week. And I'll tell you the reason why, and not to beat a dead horse on this USC junior game, but you go back and you look what they did against Florida State last year, shit the bed, and then you look at it the year before that,
also
with 1 point against Florida State. So it's like that Labor Day weekend game for LSU has been a no-go under Brian Kelly. They are over. Right. So I lost a lot of money betting on LSU last year because I thought they were going to exact some type of revenge, against FSU. But as we
And
all
we saw
know,
how trash FSU was.
yeah, absolutely. Look what Georgia did to them, right? So I don't think that Brian Kelly is a good performer on this Labor Day weekend game, especially when it's one of these neutral site, big, like commercialized games, right? So that's why I think it plays into USC's favor on that.
Okay, let's switch gears here to Ole Miss. I do think Ole Miss is a playoff team, given the 12 team schedule. They start off extremely soft. Versus look at the
also
first
9.5 here. So Vegas has Ole Miss and LSU over under at 9.5.
Okay,
which is interesting.
Okay, yeah. So I will go straight through these first 5: Furman, Middle Tennessee, Wake Forest, Georgia Southern, University of Kentucky. I'm gonna count these all dubs. Any dissension there? Anybody have any strong opinions on these first 5?
No, LSU or Ole Miss at LSU is gonna be a battle of the ranked undefeated teams, 6-0 teams meeting.
Yeah. Well, you look, they got Kentucky there. Are they hosting Kentucky, or are they playing at the grocery store?
They're playing at the they are hosting.
They're hosting.
They're hosting.
They're not going to Kroger.
Okay, so it's down there in the Grove. Okay, yeah. I would say Ole Miss, has a really good chance of having that be in the letdown.
Yep.
Okay.
Wow.
Because this is why I say that. If you go back and you think about it, Ole Miss, they had a Kentucky team which was quarterbacked by Will Levis 2 years ago in the kind of the same position, right? And they didn't take care of business, and for the life of me, I don't know why, but I just don't have a good feeling about Ole Miss's chances here against the Wildcats. I think as hard as it is for me to say this, and I know that Ole Miss, they've done some good stuff in the transfer portal and they're decently coached. It's hard for me to give a lot of credit to St. Lane, but I think they might not lose the game, but I don't know what the spread is right now, but I would stay away from this game. If I'm betting, I'm staying away from it because I think it's going to be one of those 0.5 point or 1 point spreads, 1.5 point spreads, So I would stay away from it. If Will Levis can go down there and win, like anybody can. So
you gotta give some credit to the to the quarterback of your beloved Tennessee Titans.
No, I never do that.
Okay. Our next group of 4 games are South Carolina, LSU, Oklahoma, and Arkansas for Ole Miss. I think they get a dub versus South Carolina. Mixed feelings on this game from the group. We already kind of touched on it, so I won't harp on this too much. This will be a test. This Oklahoma game is in Oxford. Yeah, so it's October 26th. So I think that this will be, of that group of games, these two seem like they could go either way. Kind of Ole Miss versus LSU, Ole Miss versus Oklahoma. I'm gonna say they lose one of them. Maybe they lose to Oklahoma, maybe they lose to LSU. So I think that that's what I would watch out for there. And the last one of this set of 4 is Arkansas. So I think they will go 3-1 here, putting them at either 8-1 or 7-2 at this point in the season. Josh, do you have any other feelings about the Oklahoma game versus Ole Miss?
Yeah, I want to go back and correct myself. So actually, Kentucky did lose that game. That's on me, and I should have known better that Will Levis would beat Lane Kiffin. So my bad, little fact checking there on myself. I do remember it was a very close game. So to my point, I would stay away from it. 22-19, I think, was the final score. There was a crap ton of craziness that went into that game, which I think is on par for both Lane Kiffin and, that dude with the skullet that coaches Kentucky, Mr. Stoops. But anyway, the Oklahoma game, I would say Ole Miss probably go take care of business against Boomer Sooner.
Mhm.
I think Texas and Oklahoma need to get comfortable being uncomfortable because they've moved the SEC, and I think a lot of people are definitely looking and knowing Lane the way that we know him because he was here at Tennessee as a coach, and just kind of how he thinks. He takes things personal, and I definitely see a lot of coaches just kind of getting their fill with hearing about Oklahoma and Texas. And I've been hearing a lot of people on Twitter, especially Oklahoma and Texas fans, talk about how, what has anybody done in the SEC? You've only had two schools in the SEC, Alabama and Georgia, produce over the last 20 years. What have they done? Why should we be scared to be here? Well, I'm telling you, this is going to be another iteration of why they should be scared. I think Ole Miss is going to go in there and welcome them to the SEC appropriately. So give me the Rebs.
Okay. All right. To close out the season, we have Georgia, Florida, Mississippi State. I think they lose. I think Ole Miss loses to Georgia. Pretty good QB matchup. Jackson Dart versus Carson Beck here.
What do you think gives Georgia the edge there, Naveen?
Can't explain it other than experience.
What, driving drunk and reckless and getting arrested is that Georgia's difference maker? That's really all I've been hearing about them in the off season.
Yeah.
The difference maker is that when the starter gets arrested, the backup comes on and he's another 5-star. That's the difference maker.
You think that? Well, I mean, there's been quite a few. I don't know if you guys have been looking, but a lot of transfer portal guys have been coming out of Georgia. So, it's a different world these days, with plug and play 5-stars. But I will say, I think this is going to be a really good game for Ole Miss. It's in Oxford at the Grove. I know you're going to think I'm crazy, but I think Ole Miss is going to squeak one out here.
Okay.
I don't think I really don't think Georgia is going to be the Georgia that we've been used to seeing the last couple of years. I think they're going to take a step back because, again, I think the transfer portal is starting to level those waves a little bit. So,
okay, fair enough.
like a field goal game, Ole Miss.
Okay. Awesome. So we got Florida and Mississippi State left. Florida will be a win for Ole Miss.
Dub.
Then Egg Bowl.
Egg Bowl.
Now on Black Friday. Just want to point that out. Kind of sucks.
It's not on Thanksgiving?
Not on Thanksgiving anymore. So that
gotta love the transition to ESPN. Gotta love it. ABC, ESPN. Gotta love it. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
No more CBS showcase on Thanksgiving.
So we have to watch the damn Cowboys, and that's the only football on Thanksgiving or Thanksgiving night.
No, there'll be a Big Ten game on. I guarantee you.
Yeah, we can look that up. We can look that up, but I think honestly this is a playoff team, boys. This is 10-2, 11-1, 9-3 type of schedule. I'm seeing here. Would just highlight, whatever happens at LSU, whatever happens versus Oklahoma, whatever happens versus Georgia are the key
difference makers. Yeah.
So it could go either way, and I think if you have a 2-loss or a 1-loss Ole Miss team, that's a playoff. So yeah, just calling that out there.
10-2. I think Ole Miss goes, so that'll be over the current Vegas line of 9.5.
Yeah,
and they make the playoffs.
All right. Last topic of the day here. We got British Open next week. I'm gonna let you guys take this one. So Josh, anything to
Look,
call
man,
out?
it doesn't matter. Shove everything you got on Scotty Scheffler. This dude is just playing exceptional golf. You know, I saw him at the US Open. He didn't have his best round, but he followed it up the next week with a huge performance. Scotty's playing out of his mind this year, but I mean, you have your typical characters that could still do something. Bryson, he's coming off a big win. I just hope that we see some stuff out. I like how Jordan Spieth's been playing lately. He's been coming around. I like seeing him, and my boy Rory. He's he's in prime shape to go over to the British Open and do something after his failed attempts of winning the U.S. Open. So maybe now that he's going back over across the pond to the motherland, maybe he can seal the deal there. I don't know what's going on in his relationship, but I think we've covered that and we've exhausted that discussion. But still, Rory, I know it might be cheaper to keep him, but man, that little space and time where you were a single man, or at least separated, you're playing some pretty phenomenal golf. So whatever that's worth, maybe apply that. Andy?
Yeah. So British Open, very, very different type of golf courses than the others, right? Obviously, Masters always at Augusta. This year they're at the Royal Troons. I believe that's in Liverpool.
So no St. Andrews, huh?
Not St. Andrews. So they rotate, but they always come back to St. Andrews every few years, but they rotate through. And it's like the links style golf courses. Basically, it's on the it's kind of like the where RBC Heritage is, right? With all those courses on the coastal Carolina. So it's like the link style, very, very windy, no trees, no water hazards, but wide open fairways, just very tall, fast cues. And that makes it pretty interesting. I'd always think Augusta, obviously, super hard course. US Opens are always set up so that the greens are super difficult. We saw that at Pinehurst. PGA Championships, just kind of the easiest ones. Everybody scores 15 under, 20 under, 22 under. British Open, just kind of always interesting because you bring up a good point. Jordan Spieth, I think he's actually one of the best link style golf course scorer. I think I've read a stat on Twitter the other day that he has stroke gained versus the field two strokes per round at a link style golf course. Maybe something about his game that suits that. No water, so he doesn't have to deal with the potential choking. Maybe that's it. But that being said, Spieth, Rory also very strong link style. I'm gonna go against you and say Scotty won't make the top 10 here. He always struggles at this type of golf courses. Never plays the top 5 at an Open Championship. Where his accuracy shines and others. This is more like a DeChambeau style. Obviously, I gotta give him credit to him for winning the U.S. Open, but this is like a grip and rip it type of players benefit a lot. Battling against the strong winds. Accuracy, you don't have to really worry about it. Again, no trees, very wide fairways. So distance is going to come into play. That's again why, as Josh mentioned, Rory would be another one of those favorites. That being said, it'll be interesting to see if we can overcome that, the mental breakdown that he had with U.S. Open. If he's in a spot to close on Sunday. Last time he was leading at the British Open, he played really conservatively and ended up losing to Cam Smith, who was playing lights out. Just everybody's getting birdies, and Rory was just playing it safe, 2 putting each hole. That's not gonna get shut down at the majors. You can't play conservatively. You have to play to win. It's almost like our favorite saying, kind of like every time we bring up Butch Jones, can't play not to lose. You got to play to win. So it'll be interesting to see if Rory can be a little bit more aggressive. But that being said, I like Oberg. Like, he's been playing really well. That's 3 majors in a row where he's been in the mix. And on the last day, he is leading one of the tournaments this week, the Genesis, as we speak. So I think he could be a surprise dark horse player to lift, or at a very minimum, top 5 seems like a safe bet. Rory top 5 is probably gonna be close to even money. Probably another safe bet. Spieth, just because Jordan's not been playing very well, that could be a value pick here. Like, you put some money on Jordan coming in top 5 or top 10 at a plus odds, probably something like a plus 250 type of good value pick. And that's how you make money on golf. Is you can't just be slamming favorites each time, because they're gonna juice the shit out of you. But if you're looking for best odds, again, click on the square and BetStamp. You can go there. You can compare different odds. So just want to make sure you got to shop around, right? Make sure you're getting the best lines that you could possibly access within your locations.
Yep. For me, I'm a golf outsider, but I will say Aberg 12-1 looks good. Colin Morikawa 18-1. Throw that in there as well.
Wow, 18-1.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Morikawa.
Yeah.
Wow,
so
that's a smashing
value pick.
deal.
It's a value pick.
So I'll give you those as my value picks. Seems to be the 2 guys or 2 or 3 guys doing well recently in majors. And should be a good open. And for all your British Open bets, check out our code. Sign up at expert.com/LockedUpSports, or the QR code Andy's pointing to right now. We'll get you to the same thing. Shop your lines at betstamp.com. Again, want to wrap as we traveled the globe today. Euros, Copa America, Wimbledon, British Open, NBA, college football. We spanned the globe today. Exciting Sunday in sports. You can stick glued to your TV all of Sunday for Wimbledon, Euro, and Copa. And it'll just keep getting better. Next 10 days or so, we'll have the Olympics coming up. A lot of action there. And
SEC Media Days next week. So talking season is going to be in full effect.
Yeah. And guys, football's close. Like what, 7 or 8 weekends to go.
We play football next month.
Yeah. So keep your eyes and ears glued to Lock Your Top Sports for some of the great insight that we provide you guys. And for Josh, Andy, and myself, this has been Lock Your Top Sports. Go Vols.
GBO.